Hi, I'm Lovely, and today I'm going to review Episode 4 of the Magnus Protocol. Taking notes. 1. I think I'm going to have a lot to say for this one. There's almost a bit of a... Where do I start? First, I'll go with... Also, we're just going to jump into the review. I don't really have much to say beforehand. Um, but no, I want to start off with the statement first, because that's the easiest thing to talk about. I really like this. And as a big fan of Grifter's Bone, like I said in the first review, I do have a tattoo of it. This made me very happy. But even on its own, this is really good. I think there's a lot of TMA stuff in this one. We have the person with the artifacts, like the gambler's dice. We have an instrument that, makes people go kind of crazy with violence when you play it. And that's a lot of things from TMA. But I feel like this is good even on its own. Like, this isn't like, oh, they reference stuff that I knew, I like it. They reference stuff I knew, but they did their own thing with it, and I thought this was really good. I took this statement as someone who puts their body through hell for art. Like, they sacrifice their own health for the art. And with this one, we have someone who's really interested in music, like, they play the violin like crazy, and they're just going through it. And I don't know, I really liked it. I will say this, I do have an issue, um, not an actual issue with what's going on, but this is more of a me thing. I had this even in TMA. I have trouble listening to older people talk, and for stuff that takes place, let's say in the 1800s or 1900s, it's hard for me to focus, slash be kind of interested in that. Like, I'm kind of bored whenever there's something that's in olden times or being like narrated by someone who seems to be on the older side. For example, in TMA, the Gertrude ones were kind of hard to listen to at some points. Nothing wrong with them, like they didn't do anything wrong, but it's more of a me thing. So when we heard Augustus for the first time, I was a little worried. But after around 5 minutes or so, he really, I really got into it, and he won me over. No, there was a lot said at the beginning of this, and I did listen to this a couple times. I'm trying to listen to each episode twice before I do a review because I don't catch everything on the first go, and even after multiple listens, I'm still not going to catch everything. But I understand the statement a lot more. Um, what was I going to say? But no, I like listening to Augustus, and it was really nice hearing them for the first time. And goddamn, do they have a voice! Something to compliment with this episode is the music. Now, the music's already really good, but hearing all the little violin stuff, uh, while we're seeing him go off, or hearing him go off in detail about him playing, it was effective. And I love the statement. I wonder if this is my favorite statement so far. I am not sure. It takes a little bit to get going, but when it does get going, it keeps going. And that might sound really stupid. I hope that makes sense. But no, as things were picking up, I was worried the statement was just going to end. But it kept going. We got to hear how he played in front of everybody, how everybody went berserk, basically. And it was good. So overall, the statement part of this, really good. But let's talk about the other things, because I do actually dislike some things in this. So first one, which I don't think it bothers me too much, but there's two things. So first one, the beginning of this episode. We see a more serious side of Alice, and I don't know why it almost came out of nowhere for me. We also got more stuff with Sam trying to poke around and look for stuff like Magnus or Protocol, that kind of thing. And it just didn't do it for me completely. Like, they have built it up. Like, I think we've said it for a couple episodes now that Sam is looking into this stuff. He has an interest. But I don't think I was ready to see Alice be so serious after we've mostly seen her be on the goofy side, messing around. and I don't think I was ready for that just yet. We did get some interesting things, like some kind of massacre or something like that. But it did bother me a little bit about how we kind of just went like we were kind of chilling for these first 3 episodes, and then we kind of just jumped into something big here, like, hey, you cannot snoop through government files or whatever the fuck. Um, it doesn't bother me too much because it does make sense, but it does bother me a little bit. Though, I should talk about the part that does bother me. The thing that I think rubbed me the wrong way in this whole episode is the ending. I thought the ending with Gwen seeing young Lena on video like do something, I feel like it just came out of nowhere. Am I wrong? Now, each episode you are supposed to get um, just details or like foreshadowing for stuff that's going to be in the future. But I feel like the stuff at the end, it just came out of nowhere as a tease, like, ooh, what is that going to mean? What is that going to be? What does this mean? What is this about? Like, it's supposed to be intriguing, but it just felt very random for me. And I'm not sure how to feel about it just yet. Maybe when there are more episodes out, I think I'll be more fine with it. But, like, for me, we were just chilling the first 3 episodes, and then in this one, we got just a lot of details. Um, I should say, by the way, I don't think I've said it in my theories yet, but I do think the protocol part of this, like with the Magnus Archives, it's one of the best names I've ever seen for a series because of how much it like just describes the plot and everything. With Magnus being in charge, or like Yona or Jonah Magnus being in charge of the archives by staying alive in different people through Elias, that kind of thing. I don't remember it all, so I'm not even going to try to bother like explaining, but I think you know what I mean. I thought the name the Magnus Archives was fantastic, and now we have the Magnus Protocol, and I can this is my assumption. I'm going to be a bit rambly, which that's not new for my reviews, but I'll try to make the most sense. I feel like in this universe, Jonah Magnus, which I do believe is Augustus, that is my guess. This is the OG. Uh, man, it's taken me a little bit. There's so much lore in my head with TMA. No, I believe this is the OG Jonah Magnus. That's his voice, because we mostly heard him talk through Elias, so I think we're just hearing his natural voice. But I think with the archives burning down, I think he had something prepared and ready, and that's what they're talking about when it comes to the protocol. Like the Magnus Protocol, I think that is like his backup plan if something was to go wrong, if he was to die, something like that. And I think that's what this is about. I think I have a lot more theories and stuff, but I don't think they're super relevant. I do think there's a lot of interesting stuff when it comes to the voices in the computer coming in like I think a year ago, based off what they said in the first episode. I think that's right. There's a lot of little details. I don't know if that is related to the protocol that, or like the plan that Jonah had in mind. I have no idea. But that is that is a rough idea of what I think is going on. That he had a plan once TMA fell, and now we're sort of seeing it. I don't know what it leads to. I am not sure. But no, I wanted to get that theory out there because we're still pretty early on. We're still at a point where I think I can potentially predict stuff. That's one of my favorite things that I did with TMA, and I hope everybody has that kind of fun where you kind of just say theories of like, oh, what do you think is going to happen here? That kind of thing. And you kind of sound like a crazy person, but I think that's the fun part. And sometimes you might even be right. So yeah, I just wanted to get that theory out there. But overall, I love the statement. I love how detailed it was. I think at one point they talked about somebody like a parent sucking their like son's eye out through their like what the fuck. I love how detailed this was. Especially once everything kicked off. I was a big fan of this statement, and the ending did rub me wrong just a bit. I don't know how other people will feel about it. I don't know if I'll feel better about it in the future, but at the moment it bothered me. I just think things happened a bit too fast in this episode. But I think the episode overall was pretty good. And I liked it a lot. This is potentially my favorite statement so far. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say now. I'm lovely. Thank you for listening to me go off. I can't wait for more. Again, I am loving this series. I cannot wait to see more. But yeah, I'm lovely. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.